My very first thoughts of John were, this is something different, quite like to be involved with it, because he's very manic. Everybody hated his voice, and that was it really, summed Otway up. I like things that are different, and you know, I've always been involved in things that are a little bit wacky, and Otway was wacky with a capital W, and I could just see that we could work together quite well. What he lacked was musical credibility, and I suppose he thought he was going to get it from me, which I suppose I duly supplied him with. And, you know, to my surprise, I found that we did both have quite a lot in common, even though we were sort of totally different types of people. You know, a whole new experience for me. It allowed me to be far more creative, and, you know, we did have a lot in common as it turned out. To enable us to further both our careers as it happened. Our first gig was actually in Aylesbury, where he was supposed to do 10 minutes, and I was supposed to do 10 minutes, and then we were going to do 10 minutes together, because that's we knew roughly 10 minutes. Well, after his 10 minutes, the band called Trees, he emptied the hall of the venue, and the band thought they were going to have nobody to play to, so they started switching their amps on and trying to play, and I was going on stage, turning them off, and I ended up throwing a couple of the amps off stage and 3 or 4 members of the band. At that point their manager came up and said, "Do you want to play?" And I said, "Yes, please." And that's quite a good laugh. 75, 76 we had a very, very busy year. You know, it worked out, I think we did about 3 gigs a day, and you know, if you added them all up. And that is what actually did it, and you know, we were just playing everywhere whenever we could. You know, we were doing our first recording, we got our first label together, Extract Records. We had dealings with Track Records that year, I believe. And it was just a good year. That was the Wild Willy Barrett year, I think, and then 77 was when we actually started getting people ringing up saying, "Would you like to play?" The whistle test, that came as a chap called Tony Bramwell, who was promotions man for Polydor at the time, and that was prior to us being signed to them. He picked up on us, and he got us on the whistle test, Sight and Sound in Concert, I think, and a few others. You know, sort of through knowing people and just being into Otway and Barrett. It was a great asset to the cause. It was just a good show. I recall, as most people do, Otway crushing his nuts on the telly. You know, I'm hardly going to be annoyed at that, am I? I didn't get signed for a lot of money because I didn't like the deal that was on the plate, really. I didn't want to upset Otway's ambitions. So we did the 2 albums, which I did. I signed for. Then they advanced us so much money. Most of it went on. I built a recording studio. Otway bought a car. Yeah, he bought a car which he gave to me, which was very nice because he couldn't drive. So I had a quick word with him, sort of reminded him that I could. So what's the point of him having a car? We should do an armchair tour, go totally the opposite way to all his jumping about, get the old carpet slippers on, he smokes a pipe, you know, put his glasses on, you know, and sit on stage. Because at the moment I do a few gigs sometimes with an armchair with the dogs, and they all sit on the settee, and I sit on there with my drummer or whatever, and we do a gig. I think Otway sitting on a settee in his slippers and pipe would be a brilliant way to do a gig.